And all I've done from the last video is I took this part right here and I just duplicated it over. So I started using it for the buildup, and I kind of use it all kind of the same way. So just duplicating it over and over. And then in the last like few bars of this buildup, I started to repeat a certain section of it. So, just a certain note, I just started to repeat it over and over. So it kind of works with the buildup, and then it just goes into the drop. So like I said, we changed the drop. So I wasn't really liking maybe the instruments I had chosen, and I wasn't really gonna, I could have found it all up and made it really nice and shiny, but I think that just the idea was not working. And especially with what we made now, we needed something maybe a little bit more melodic. So we are going to use those chords and like melodies and saws that we made a few videos back. So this is kind of what we have now for a drop. So it's kind of more of now a progressive type feel. So that's what it sounds like. We're gonna rewrite it. We need to also do some like mixing stuff to get it to sound a lot cleaner, and that's basically what we're gonna be doing in this one. So another funny thing we did is I added in this little vocal bit for the transitional part of the build-up, and I don't know if you've seen the Shia LaBeouf motivational speech thing, but I just love it. It's so funny to me. It's so stupid. So it even sounds dumb in the track, and I totally think it sounds stupid, but it's like just stupid enough that I like it. So if you haven't seen that video, the Shia LaBeouf motivational speech, like watch a top 5 compilation on YouTube. You'll laugh your ass off. So I've peppered that in with some reverb and a little bit of compression, just to kind of keep the levels at a more consistent peak. And then I also did some like automation with some utilities just to make certain parts louder or quieter. So just kind of leveling it. So I just wanted it to be the consistent volume. I didn't want to over compress it or anything, even though I'm using the brick wall here. So the reverb here is just the reverb I love to use on vocals. This is one I've talked about before in the plugin hunt series. These settings are what I like to use. Generally these kind of settings are what I use, but it always varies with what you're working with. So let's listen to this.
Just do it!
I think what really saves it is the side chaining. So of course this is just an envelope follower that will cut the envelope according to this and according to my grid. So it's not really like compression side chaining, but it's basically doing the same. It's getting us the same results. And really what the sausage founder is, the more I cut this out, the more I can kind of start to saturate it and kind of make it feel like it's sustaining. So it is heavily being sidechained, but it doesn't sound like it, and it's helping the mix. So maybe another thing we might want to add is like an EQ. So let's bring in one that I've been using. So I like to just drop in like the API 550, really great. So let's just set all these back to 0. Okay. And what I want to do here is maybe just kind of do a little bit of shelving. I'm not really trying to get surgical or anything. If I was trying to do that, I would use a different plugin, maybe like a fab filter or something like that. So let's just listen into this, just try to get it to sound better. Actually, there might be a better plugin for that. I think I want to try using this instead. So let's actually get rid of the API. I feel like a channel strip plugin would be better. So this plugin, it's a free plugin. I've talked about this before. Shit, who makes this? Variety of Sound. You can check it out on their website. And let's reset all this. So let's just go to default all in. Okay, and let's listen to this and do that. So you saw what I did there. I played around with this quite a bit. So in case I felt like it was too boring to watch, what we did was saturate it, just slightly low pass it a bit on the higher end, just to kind of get some of that, to get rid of like those higher frequencies that are really not needed in bass. But the cool thing about this channel strip, the reason why I like it is because it has this air button over here that basically reintroduces those higher frequencies that adds presence. So if you cut out too much, if you low pass too much, you lose presence a lot, and we need that as well. And it's actually great because you get a really crispy bass line if you have a lot of presence there. So by cutting it here, bringing it back here at around 12K, it really makes a good balance between the two, and it's just something I like. So not all bass lines will need that, depending on how they go and what they're for and what genre they're in. And then we just did a little bit of compression, gain around, I think it was like 3 to 6 dB of gain reduction. Don't really need to compress it, but I wanted to, just to get it a little bit tighter, just to have a more consistent level. And yeah, I really like this plugin. It's free. You guys really should download all the plugins from varietyofsound.com. Really, like, those are my favorite plugins. Like, for me, they still top some of my favorite fab filters, waves, and Mic DSP, like UAD plugins. Like those are still my favorite plugins. I'm not sure if they're all for PC or if they're for both platforms, but if I don't know if I have them on my Mac, but really you should check it out, at least for that reason. And now let's do some rewriting. So what I want to do is have a better top line melody. So I have these chord stacks, or these chords here that are already kind of what I want. We can rewrite this, but I feel like if we rewrite the melody, we'll get what we want. So let's just mute some of these, and that way we can also keep, like I said, these chords that are basically what the bass line is following. What I basically did was just take these chords, paste it down into the bass, and then just mute out those other notes. So that's really all I did. And so let's get to writing. Alright, so that is everything I wanted to do in this one. So we might still rewrite the drop a bit more. I really tend not to try to be a perfectionist, especially when doing a video series. I tend to let things go a little bit more. But, I mean, you know, you always have to keep writing and rewriting just to know if there's anything else you can do to it. So that's everything I want to do either way in this one. So thanks guys for watching, and of course, and be sure, if you want, to check out my website for any new products I'm about to add. And also, I have my schedule up, so on the tutoring page, if you want to tutor with me, if you need some help, if you need some critique, if you need just a good hour to just pick my brain, you can do that through my website. A lot of you guys have been really cool and have enjoyed it so far, and it's been really awesome to get to also know you guys a little bit more. So with that being said, thanks guys for watching, and of course,
Just go.